Greetings. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Okay. So this is part 2 of spiritual corruption. Y'all gonna hear me read y'all certain stuff. Um, I got this information in 2014, October 20th, 2014. Some of y'all watched part 1, and I read to y'all and I broke down what the exposure and spiritual corruption of the Bible and spiritual alchemy and how the Bible is connected to Magnus Opus. If y'all didn't hear, I'm gonna give you a briefly. Exposing spiritual corruption. Spiritual alchemy in the Bible, true Satanism, is based upon ancient religions that predate Judaism, Christianity, and Islam by hundreds and thousands of years. The traditional colors of black and red used in Satanism date all the way back to ancient Egypt and are the symbolic of spiritual transformation. The ancient religions were based upon completing our Creator Satan's work, that of transforming the human soul into that of God and achieving godlike power and immortality. Satan's kingdom was stolen from him. The Judeo-Christian Bible is a corruption of that stolen material, and that has been used to spiritually enslave humanity. All of the legends of the gods are allegory. The Vatican and its cohorts have gained wealth and power and control by forcing people to believe the allegories, and they are literal places and characters like they're real, okay? The completion of this work, what is known as alchemy, such as the magnum opus, has its foundation in the Kundalini and the Kundalini serpent. Now, I know a lot of y'all is going to be wondering, okay, if you watched the first video, it goes entirely, and I go through each part of Genesis and how I'm looking for something else because I want to share it with y'all. Each part of Genesis and how it basically breaks down the Magnus Opus, and I tell you what it is verse by verse if you watch the video. So go back and watch that video if you ain't seen it. But now we're going to get into part 2, okay? And how they're basically using information and how the stuff they're saying, it doesn't even basically resonate with the shit that they kicking out. Let's say this. Hold up, I'm trying to find something. I'm trying to find this information for y'all. It's something I want to read to y'all about the Typhonians, about the true religion that we believed in. While I look for it, I'm going to just go ahead and get into what it is. I should have looked that up. Okay. But basically, the real religion that we believed in was the Typhonians. We believed in the Typhonian priesthood, all of those rituals. Some of them are still locked in the Catholic Church. If you ever see the Bible of the Catholic Church, it has like different crests on top of the Bible, and it goes into that. But I'm having a little trouble finding something, but I want to get into what this whole mysticism and shit is. Like, for example, this is no shade to none of the religions. I just know what they are. To me, religions are levels of thought. Okay? So when people practice Islam, they don't know that they're really practicing Persian mysticism. A lot of them don't know that. A lot of people are introduced to Islam when they're lost. Don't believe me? Just Ask anybody when they learn how to practice it. If they wasn't raised in a Muslim country, they'll tell you I was in jail and a motherfucker put me on to the Quran. I started reading it. But you could read the Bible and Quran, like open both of them, and it'd be like verbatim. So they don't know that Islam is really Persian mysticism. And Persian mysticism is a love tradition, and it was traditionally interpreted of the existence of life and love, and it relied upon revelatory and heartfelt principles of reasoning. Okay, Zoroastrian traditions of the Persian Empire. That's basically what it is, or Sufism from Iran, which is a form of witchcraft. Okay, so that's, y'all could read that on your own where all this goes into with the Persian mysticism. I like to let people have their own, thought about it. And a lot of people are real deep spiritually, so, oh, that's not really what it is. But for example, in Persian mysticism, they talk about the div, which are demonic creatures of darkness, which is also known as like a divic, negative spirits. And then in Islam, they'll talk about the Isfret, or the jinn. Same thing. They'll talk about Shaotin, but in Persian mysticism, that was Zak. Okay. They'll talk about Simrug, but in Persian mysticism, but in Islam, that was like a Muhammad. Okay. It's just a lot. You know what I mean? It's a lot. And you read it, the creatures and the people and what they believe. And then like going even deeper with that, it's a book. And you look online for this book, it's probably like $200 or $300. It's Persian Metaphysics and Mysticism, the Selected Treatise by Aziz Nasafi, Aziz space Nasafi. And when you read that, you're going to find a lot of information. Another thing I want y'all to know is the word Suf, or like the cities that these people had, is the meaning of wool, nappy ass hair. That's why when they view our hair like this as us being disagreeable, this nappy hair shit. Y'all gotta excuse me if I'm looking up crazy. I'm reading to y'all. I just want to make sure I go over everything, and then I'm gonna put my perspective, but I like to give y'all this information where to look it up. Judaism is another one. Their core concepts is God, the creator, the supporter, sustainer, the Torah, which is the written and oral law, the prophecies, which is divine communication, the Messiah, the awaited Redeemer, and the resurrection, okay? And what they call the Maimonides is the author of the principles. But these people are the Jews, which is really the synagogue of Satan. I told you all that shit been flipped. They are the synagogue of Satan. They proclaim themselves as Jews, and they're not really the true Jews. They don't even honor Jesus Christ in their doctrine. How the hell Jesus would be the king of the Jews and they don't even honor him? Like, make it make sense. A lot of this Judaism goes back to Satanism, like I expressed in the first video. If you watched it, a lot of that is Satanism. It's like satanic. Hold on, I'm about to read you something. A lot of that is satanic, okay? They proclaim to be connected to things which they are not. Just like with the Bible, they claimed that Jesus is this white man. You go into churches, you'll see a white man. He got the Remy pack. He hanging with the nails and stuff in his hands. And I was telling people today on TikTok, if you read Psalms, the book of David, chapter 22, they talk about the life and the death and the resurrection of Christ all in one Psalms. Don't believe me? Look it up. Psalms 22, the book of David, when he speaks his Psalms, he speaks about Jesus' life, death, and resurrection. A lot of this, people are not, really aware of that. People really don't read the Bible like they say they do. They don't really do it. They take different parts of the Bible and make it realistic. Today, I touched on how Jesus was a Nephilim, like half man, half God, and it pissed a lot of Christian people off, and it's the truth. It even proves it in Psalms 22 that he cried out to God thinking that who he had been giving his energy to was God, and it was not. It was one of them Anunnakis. If you haven't read the Enumalish, very powerful book, Enuma space Elish. If you haven't read that, you should, okay? This book basically, or this tablets, it's like 14 scrolls, and it goes into these people, the Anunnaki, which are like the sky people, and they tell you the lineage of these gods, and the purpose they came to this earth was to mine gold, go help their atmosphere where they were. So that was their whole initiative, was mining gold to help their atmosphere, okay? And it sealed the holes into their atmosphere where they were. So they used Earth as a backup planet. One of the kings that was exiled from there came here, and he found life to be able to be sustained on Earth. He stayed here a time in his exile. He went beyond what we know as the asteroid belt. He knew the secrets of what they say of the universe or whatever. He was able basically to tell them, like, he knew that of this planet, which we call planet Earth, it was denser, and he knew from their ancient teachings that all of this existed because of the all. Now, even if you read the Anunnaki tablets through the Sumerian shit, they will basically tell you about them doing different things as God, operating as God to the humans, but not really being God, right? And that the all, or the messenger of the all, was leaving them this shit wrote on like lapis lazuli tablets and shit, right? And they knew that they wasn't really in control. Well, these niggas basically done tricked a bunch of humans down here to believing that these people are God. You still got people that believe in Abrahamic religions, and these motherfuckers will kill you if you don't believe that Jesus Christ is Lord and God. Which that's not really necessarily true, okay? There have been countless other stories, okay, of Christ. Not only just in different, like, how can I say this? Not only in just like different manuals and shit, but it is so many different accounts of Christ before this whole thing even went down, thousands of years before it even went down, okay? So they'll tell you like Christ was this and Christ did that, but really those is all ancient Kemetic stories. I'm still trying to find this paper for y'all. I cannot find it. Those are still ancient Kemetic stories, okay? They stole all of the energy, the information from ancient Kemet, and made it modern, put it in the Bible as other people's names, okay? And use this information basically to trick all these people. That's why we still, as conscious people, we on here talking about how this shit ain't even real. Like, we still talking about it. It's really a spell, and a lot of people don't really realize that all of this different information is just different forms of the spell. It's not really what you think it is. It's all just different forms of a spell. Hold up, I'm gonna look somewhere else. I didn't really go into the different things that we have trouble in this life that the Bible speak about, okay? The Enumalish, or the tablets, the 14 tablets, will tell you about Noah and about how they created everything after the flood. In this realm now, we deal with a lot of homosexuality. I'm going to just go in off the top of the dome. We deal with a lot of homosexuality. Reason being is The sons and the descendants of Noah, they looked upon his own nakedness. If that's a real story, that is why homosexuality is corrupted. That's why we corrupt it. Even the Bible that was wrote by King James, he was a homosexual man and he had a lot of wild homosexual deeds. He had put Puffy to shame, the shit that he was doing. And he knew how to interpret the information. He was a Moor, and they used his interpretations to create what we now know as the Bible. They stole that shit. They took his information and used it against him. Okay? Think of it like this. I could go on and on about revealing how this information is stolen, right? Especially the Nazarene, the crucifixion, and all this shit out. They acted out to remove all spiritual knowledge and replace it with bullshit. It never told you in the Bible that Jesus was coming back to save you. It never talks about that. It tells you that Christ is coming back, which is the consciousness. They never, in the Bible, Jesus never told you to give him your soul. That they made that shit up. That's fiction. Jesus' character is acted as the police for ultimate control. You got wars that have been fought. People have died because they literally believe in religion, which binds the mind. This is the control of the mind and the control of humanity through the mind. That is the spell. The scene of the Nazarene is completely fictitious, and it can be anything more in which in powerful positions of information that they use to collaborate and dictate and put it together to change the times and conform this agenda. If Psalms chapter 22 don't show you that, and if for those that don't know, Psalms was wrote 1,000 years before Jesus was born. Everybody that wrote about Jesus Christ, don't believe me, look it up, never met him. None of them did. This is not a lie. People was like, oh, how you know this? I used to really wholeheartedly believe that Jesus Christ was Lord, God, all of this shit, right? I died several times. Not only did I have experiences when I was dead that some religions I study still can't even fucking explain to this day. Not only that, I started really studying religions, like wholeheartedly, seeking Christ diligently, having a Hebrews chapter 11 moment, seeking Christ diligently because I wanted to know why we had been lied. Like, what was the whole, like, what was the whole big lie? Like, why did we have to go into this big lie about everything? Like, what was that whole shit about? Like, even like when we go down to different forms of religion with the Kemetic shit, now everything that was ancient Kemet, they digging the shit up. In all religious books and stories that I study, they tell you that evil is in the ground. We walk on evil and it's in the ground. All evil deities and shit is bound inside of the earth. In all religious texts, it tell you that history is going to repeat itself. It's so much shit that they leave out and try to make it that the innocent always suffer, when the true secret is your skin like this. And don't believe me, this is not about racism or no shit, but having an indigenous body is like having a Ferrari in this realm as a vehicle. They were mining the gold. I want you to think about this. They were originally mining the gold. That's why humans were created. And now your black body is worth more than gold. I want you to think about this. Your melanin is worth more than the gold that we was originally created to mine. If you read the Enumalish, we was only originally created as dumbass Lulus to mine gold. You niggas still collecting gold this day. You feel me? We was brought here to mine the gold. That was the whole thing. Then they started falling in love with the humans, taking their own wives. Enki did it first, then Marduk, which is Ra, the son of God. That's who Jesus believed was his father. Then a lot of these things are incarnated into different bodies. Christ come in consciousness. It's your consciousness that is connected to the all, that was higher than the Anunnakis, was your consciousness that they all had from the people of old. See, the planet Nibiru, Planet X, whatever the fuck you want to call it, when that thing show up in our atmosphere, it's been a 3,600 year cycle, which they call a shar, okay, in their time. Because time is different on Earth than it is in Anunnaki time. And a lot of people is wondering about these Anunnakis, are they still here? Yeah, we done made them be God. Like, we done made them God and not even known it. Just not even knowing what it was. You know what I'm saying? Just like, because something was smarter than you and, you know what I'm saying? You wasn't aware of what it is. I wanted to really read all this stuff about the great Typhonian mother. I'm still trying to find it. You didn't know what this is. So they basically hid it from you. You didn't know. You like, oh, I didn't know that this person was this. The only Anunnaki that didn't play that they was God was Vishnu, Narishagog. He was the only one that didn't run around tell people he was God. He also appeared as what we know as Tahuti, the same energy. And that's what I wanted to get at. Like, a lot of these Vishnus, Krishna, all of this, these people had avatars that they reincarnate in. So it's certain people that's born these avatars. They reborn, you know, in this priesthood. They reborn as that. Hold on. They reborn as that. And it's crazy. But they'll have you thinking this. Now, I want to tell you why this shit is crazy. I think I might be spelling this wrong. I want to tell you why it get crazy with it. I want to kind of get into that. Reason being, I cannot find it nowhere. Reason being is that makes it so crazy with you being like caught up in believing in this shit is because you'll have people like, for example, when I told my family like the story of Jesus ain't real, this, and I got proof to show you like it's a slave ship. It never really happened the way they said. All this stuff never really happened. And my family was looking at me like, oh yeah, bitch, you done lost your fucking mind. That's how you feel? I'm like, yeah. It's just all these made up stories and shit. And like, you damn near gotta go crazy to find all of these different stories that, you know, they didn't link together and shit to make it up, to make it their own reality. And you ask, okay, how the hell do they do this? Well, let's just get into this before I get off here, because I ain't gonna make this a long video like the other one was. The people that came to the Americas, and I'm telling you, this is why they hate immigrants so much. They was all immigrants from over there, Europe and shit, because they was kicked out of their country for religious apartheid. Them motherfuckers was doing witchcraft. And that's why everything in Christianity, the Easter egg hunts, all of that shit, is connected to pagan rituals. Because it's satanic. That Christianity shit is satanic. They stole all the information. I'm telling y'all right now. Y'all might think I'm fucking crazy, but one day y'all gonna be sitting back and be like, that fucking lady told us this shit. You are at the mercy of the devil when you worship that. The devil this. Now ask people, you so fucking smart. If the devil was doing all of this, why would the devil be punishing you for shit that God don't want you to do when he's going against God? Like, it just doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense once you rationally wrap your mind around what it is that you're thinking. Okay? What it is that you're actually, here we go. This is what I was trying to look for. What you're actually thinking, okay? They'll tell you that Kenneth Grant will tell you he was an Egyptian and a writer, a magician and a writer, excuse me. Kenneth Grant, look him up, old white man. He's a ceremonial magician. He'll tell you that Greek mythology is some white people shit. That's not the truth. Greek mythology come from the stories of when the people that practice Hinduism was on Mount Orisha. Sound suspicious, don't it? And the mythology that happened to them and how it's kind of going to the Ifa stuff of how these people are actual descendants of gods and goddesses. And he'll tell you that the Typhonian religion is Greek mythology, but that is way older than that. It go back to the Egyptian god Set. See, this realm was stolen from the devil. Now, this might sound fucking crazy. And then I'm gonna have y'all think about it. If some of y'all like, well, shit, Cheeto, what do you mean? A lot of this shit that they doing is satanic. And really, if we could go even deeper without, my purpose is to enlighten you without frightening you. Okay? If we could go even deeper, they stole the keys. They tell you in the Bible, they stole the keys from the devil. They tuple Jesus. I wish I had people to go back and forth with me. I might do this on TikTok a little bit because I got a lot of questions. They stole that. And no matter how you look at it, it was stolen. They say they stole it from them, and all of this great mother, you'll hear that. That's the Typhonian priesthood, the great mother. And that's what I was trying to find y'all. I'm about to look in one more email. Then if not, I'm about to get off of here because I really want y'all to know about the Typhonian mother. And it keeps showing up a book. It's not what I'm looking for. Here we go. Here we go. I found it. This is what I want to tell y'all. To all indigenous people watching this, we about 27 minutes in. Don't forget this. Before there was any male-orientated version of creation, there was the feminine realm who was associated with darkness, not evil. From the darkness comes the true light. All my real light workers know you went to the dark to get that light. This was the Typhonian tradition that was embraced. The Typhonian culture was practiced way before Egypt and all of that. It started to manifest more during that time. The Typhonians put great emphasis on the great mother goddess worship, which preceded all male-dominated worship. This is the reason why many worship a male version of Creator. But how so? Man come from women. And as an advanced branch of carbonated beings, the Typhonians, or people, had their own culture prior to Kemet. The Typhonian civilization at that time was advanced and immature and declined way before the first monuments in Kemet were ever built. The reason why was the Typhonian tradition didn't make it through Kemet when Kemet started to thrive because the Typhonian tradition migrated out of Kemet before it started wiping away all of the older traditions which preceded them. They went from polytheism to monotheism, okay, the one God, right, the Atum. So they got it out before it proceeded, which did happen. Then male-dominated religion has ruled this dimension for 2,000 years plus due to the shift from the lunar phase, which is the Great Mother, back to the solar patriarchal phase, where the male aspect of creation manifested and sought out to dominate over his mother. This is why many think God is a he, but that's only because of the shift into the cardinal sign of Aries when the Europeans started ruling, which is now shifting back to the Great Mother, which is the lunar, where we rule as indigenous people. We are in something called a solar system. Sol means sun, and male energy. The universe was converted from female to male. In order for us to have a complete understanding of why many think God is male, we must know that uh, the women were before the great goddess. This is the reason why many automatically think the Holy Father as male aspect, or proceed to say when we think of what God is, that he's secondary to her because she came before him. The original man is a woman. She was called a womb man, or a ooh man, like O, like OOMAN, or womb, WOMBMAN. He who many call God is only a child of her, the absolute, whose energy is starting to trans back in this realm as magnetic energy. Remind you, this come from 2014. Some shit that me and people I was dealing with, something I had came upon then. Hold on. She started trans back as magnetic energy right through our flesh. It's through us. That's the Christ consciousness. That's that fragment from the old I was talking about that they did manipulated. And I'm gonna tell you why they did it, because they were witches. This is why we see more physical chaos every day in this realm. The more than likely it's all set up by those who keep rule under the fear, because this magnetic energy is going to come right through our flesh. This is why we see the physical chaos. Like, so the more we awaken to the dark energy of the mother, and they start honoring the mother, and we bring the hoes to the mothers, this shit is changing the energy, okay? So they keep rule under fear, because that's the only way male dominating energy is able to rule the planet, is through fear. This is the reason why the goddess worship died off, because the cycle died off from the moon, okay? As the male energy dominated over the feminine creator. Friday the 13th, 1307, look this shit up. One of the central accusations brought against the Knights Templars was the worship of an AKA the Baphomet. Okay, this the abracadabra. That's the spell that's on black people, the abracadabra, right? I'm gonna prove it to y'all too, let you look this shit up. Friday the 13th, 1307, the central accusations brought upon the Knights Templar was the worship of the Baphomet, the AKA the goddess worship. See, this is really your womb when you bleed. I put a rose over because I was freaking my grandma and them the fuck out. This is your tubes, your fallopian tubes, the fire in the womb, which is the sword going in, the energy going through the light. And this used to have a Baphomet face, which is really your reproductive system. They afraid of that shit, and they using it and making it demonic, okay? They doing all this demonic shit with it. This is why. The Baphomet, aka goddess worship, they was killed because they worshiped the goddess. They had full understanding of what it was, and we need to retract back, because there's so much that has been hidden from us under the guise of evil. The great goddess and her energy is returning back. This was 10 years ago. We wrote this, right? I'm going to show y'all, to this planet, to this existence. You got to be ready to embrace your own power that we once had before we was deemed as evil. There is nothing evil about indigenous people and our ancient abilities. Eshu is not the devil. I've been hearing people say, well, Eshu the devil. That is a lie. I'm going to explain that too, because they need to lay off of that. And I'm going to show you how he exists in Christian music, okay? They hid all this stuff. The slaves was not dumb like we think. There is nothing evil about your ancient abilities. We must understand that, because the scriptures will tell you that you evil because you could see shit and that you could do this. We are returning to the energy of the goddess, but be mindful of what you call the Most High. This was the Creation Myth 2014. This was wrote years ago, October. It was two things, okay? This is what I was looking for to tell y'all this for a reason. It was like bothering me. I had to find it. Now, the Christian Bible will tell you that witchcraft is evil, right? And all this shit, right? Witch, gossip, and slander is evil. But they would tell you, like, witchcraft is evil. But they use three magi to find baby Jesus. Lucifer is Venus, the star in the east, right? How is Lucifer evil if she told you where baby Jesus was born and told you to keep him alive, bring him frankincense and myrrh? Don't that sound like some Anunnaki shit? And bring him some gold chains. And if y'all know, like I know the Christian Nativity story, when they got there and brought it to him, baby Jesus spake to them. He said, "Lo," he started talking to him. It's an avatar. The conscious in E5, what they call or read, it's an avatar. It's your consciousness. This is just a suit. It's not really your real body. And when you got a black body and you dead and in religion, it's like having a Ferrari with no gas. You ain't got no abilities. You still hold on to Christian ideology. You believe it. Now I want you to ask yourself, black people hate everything about slavery but Christianity. You hate everything about slavery but Christianity. And then this white man was going in on me. I said, honey, you're people and you can't teach me shit about God. The things y'all did to people, you can't teach me shit about God. You can't teach me nothing about salvation. How you do people. And how y'all go along doing people, especially in the church. Y'all condemn all these people that's homosexual in the church, but don't give them the story of Noah and how his own children was looking upon his nakedness. That's the lineage they come from. Why didn't you tell them that? That the man that wrote that Bible was a flaming homosexual. They called him Queen James and mocked him. Why did y'all didn't tell these people that this is what the people was doing? That's why the energy is up in your church. Then they want to talk about the witches in the church. Well, let's talk about the people when they came over here from religious freedom. They were witches. These people did a ritual using the 13 pieces of a black body that they believed was the descendants of Osiris. The Pope show you the head in a box. They took 13 pieces and took 13 original colonies and founded what we know as the United States Corporation of America. The Pilgrims did that. These people were witches. How I know I'm related to them. I come from people that's from the first families of Virginia. They were witches. And they came over here and did this shit to these indigenous people, took them off their shit, disconnected them from the Great Spirit, and stole all their shit too. And I'm telling you, you sitting there believing in religion wholeheartedly, you done lost your mind. They are in control of you. Religion comes from the Latin word regulare, which means to bind the mind. We are in the age of Aquarius. A lot of this shit ain't even about the ride no more. They got mad at me this morning because I told them that Jesus was a Nephilim. They said, well, how you figure? Then in the Bible, because I read the Bible probably 9 times as a kid and probably 100 times as an adult. No bullshit. Still read it to this day. Didn't they tell you in the Bible that Mary was a virgin? She was like a child, like 14 years old. If you look in the Apocrypha, they have a book about Mary, Jesus' mother, and they'll tell you that Mary went to the mystery schools of Osset, which we call Isis. She was in the mystery schools. And in the Bible, they'll tell you that when she became with child, she went and visit her cousin, which is John the Baptist's mama, to prove that she was really pregnant by the angel that came and went unto her. When you go unto somebody that was a virgin, the word virgin meant Virgo. And that's why they'll tell you Jesus, which is connected to Oshun, Lakshmi, Vishnu, Krishna, all these different things, is born in the sign of Virgo. Okay, Krishna's birthday, August 26th. Oshun festival in August during the... Come on, man. Virgo is the virgin, the maiden. It is referred to as sexually intact or a woman that's sexually inexperienced. Okay, they not going to tell you that the virgin and the virginity was virtue and honor. That's why they always got her shrouded. Her head be covered. You know, she like modest. She's in her virtue. Okay. They also tell you Genesis chapter 3, verse 15, that the seed of a woman would destroy the serpents. Now, you got pictures, and I'll just show some of y'all this that's going to watch later. Y'all watch me on other places. That they have a fucking statue of Archangel Michael killing a reptilian. The reptilians is the mommy water symbols. You doing all this voodoo and shit and not even realizing that the voodoo is the serpent power. That's the inky Typhonian energy. It's the same shit. But they'll tell you that the woman, the seeds of a woman would destroy the serpent. They got you killing your own damn ancestors and working and using shit that they made up and fashioned off of your shit and gave it to you. They've been tricking your ass. And like I said, my purpose is to enlighten you without frightening you. I could go deeper on here, but I'm going to just shut it down. I done gave out enough for part 2. We could do part 3. With the Anunnaki and how y'all got to worshiping Yahweh for all the Yahweh Bible thumpers. I'm going to tell you, they the closest to the ancient religions. But Yahweh means man as God. And if you're going to get into being man as God, that's cool. That means you were part of the Anunnaki, aka Luciferian agenda. See, a lot of y'all think that these Anunnakis is God from the planet Nibiru X and all, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Back in astrology, they knew 3, 4 in the morning for all my conjure people, Venus rises first, was the first original, star that rises. And then after 2 or 3 hours later, the physical sun would rise, aka Ra in Egyptian time, would rise in the east. So Venus was when they started up, they get up and hit their rituals, and then eventually Ra would shine. Now you got these people that follow Yahweh, Baal. That's all the Enlil, the Nergal energy, okay? All Anunnaki shit, right? So a lot of y'all are following Anunnaki religions that the people who was the Lulus is following. Those are the ones that get dressed up, what is they called? The Hebrew Israelites. There's no such thing as a fucking Hebrew. Hebrew is an ancient term which means her web, she weaved. It all has something to do with the feminine aspect. But they would tell you that it was a lost lineage of people, and all these people, it was 12 tribes of them. The 12 tribes, it has something to do with the 12 aspects of the zodiac. One day I'll get into teaching y'all about the wheel and what the fuck it really is and how it plays out in your personality, because they have something called constellation magic where people got stars and shit over their head. That's kind of like in the Freemasonry. But I want to give you one last thing before I get out of here of why we will never understand this whole thing about Christ. I'm going to just give it to you blood raw. Matter of fact, if I could turn my camera around, I'm going to let you read it with me because this is important, okay? This comes from a book called The 16 Principles of Odu. I was given this book about a year ago by a man, Mr. Plummer, okay? When he gave me this book, I thought it was very interesting because I wanted to know more about sacrifice, about Ori. And then I scrolled down and I really got to read. He didn't know I was a studier, like I'm really a reader. So I wanted to read. When I got to Oye Kumeji, I was like, this is very interesting. And I want to read this to you, okay? I want you to read it with me. In the fixed order of Orunmila, Oyo Kumeji occupies the second position. Now pay attention to what I say. Oyo Kumeji is the black disc or the hoe. The Odu signifies darkness and unhappiness and warns of death, sickness, worries, and a bad omen. Yet also carries with it to the solution to all these problems. It symbolizes all the forces which we can never be known. One more time. It symbolizes all the forces which can never be known. It is the image of those forces that create the night, speaks of the comings and goings between heaven and earth, the messenger of death, the physical element of fire, the physical body element, the hairs and the body and the back of the neck. The children will be disposed to be agriculture, masons, market masters, wisdom of the departed ancestors, the symbol of the fish. For it was this Odu that brought food and nourishment into the world, organization of wisdom. This Odu denotes the death and all other evil. Can y'all see this? That will appear or disappear from a child to adulthood, hence the death of a child. The Odu represents the power of spiritual transformation as well as physical reincarnation. We are composed of the flesh and death and return to the Father of transformation. I'm not going to read this to you. Right here, you can read this. As an honest sage no longer in existence, a truthful person is very rare indeed. When I no longer have any reliable persons to confide in, I choose to keep my thoughts within. Those are the declarations of the oracle for Ajao, who is being befriended by earthly beings and heavenly beings. He was asked to offer sacrifice. He complied. Alas, all the human beings seeking my friendship, I hearken not. My thoughts have been kept with me, and all heavenly beings seek my friendship. I am not interested in your friendship. I have kept my thoughts with me. This is the Odu incarnation of who? Jesus. This is the Son of God called Jeshuin, a.k.a. Akobi, a.k.a. Jesus Christ, in heaven, and was told to make sacrifice in order to survive the plot that was going to be hatched by the human beings against him on earth. He was told to give Eshu, which you go to the Bible, they would tell you that he was tempted in the wilderness by the devil. That's when he was talking to Eshu. He bluntly refused. However, he agreed to make a smaller bow, and the woes, which are the students, told him that if he did not make the sacrifice to Eshu, it was the agents of earth that would kill him and shorten his life and his missionary works. But since he had made the small bow, he would awaken after 3 days, and his fame would outlive him after his return to heaven. When Jeshua got to the world as he was about to begin his work for preaching the objective of truth, the way the people lived in the heaven and love of God for his creations, Eshu appeared to him in his dreams and warned him that what God had given him. Okay? Eshu Alawishi Oni Segun, the influence of all that existed in the planetary system. Eshu told Jeshua that if he did not give him what he asked, Jeshua would have himself to blame because he would cause his followers to destroy him. And Eshu once again refused to recognize Eshu, and Jeshua was actually killed or went home in 33 years after he began his work on earth. But let's go back to the top, because I told you this is the Odu incarnation of Jesus. And it says that what? It symbolizes all forces which can never be known. Ifa is 6,000 years older than Christianity. Okay? These people stole this information because they knew they could take this Jeshua, this Akobi, the firstborn, and trick you with the doctrine. They tricked you. They made you think he was God and to worship and give your energy to him. When I told you that this real, what we think all this shit is real Satanism. This shit is spiritual corruption. And we really running around beefing and killing each other over this bullshit and these tuplas and shit that these white boys made up and played with it to do magic with, to draw power from. The shit is fake. Okay? And a lot of people, y'all probably watching like, damn, this is crazy. I will send you the books. I will send you the books. You DM me, I'll send the shit to you for free. Somebody gave it to my ass for free. It's a book. The people that wrote the book want you to fucking read it. Okay? I will send it to you. Any information I got on spiritual corruption, I will fucking send it to you. Again, the Bible is true Satanism. This shit is based upon ancient religions that predate Judaism, Christianity, and Islam by hundreds of thousands of years. And they use black and white, which is from ancient Egypt, the symbolic of transformation and alchemy, okay, to trick us by using the Magnus Opus and the energy of the Kundalini serpent. Go watch my first video. I break it all the way down. And I tell you about this twisted shit that they doing. Now we're in the stage of what they call the niggerito, where the stage ends and the surface of a starry aspect, which is linked to the night sky, which told the shepherds and the king that the child was born in Bethlehem. We back right there again. Okay? The three magi represents the stage and the work. Okay? The light of the chi stone, the black void, is when the eyes is closed during meditation. The magi opens the stages of the work, and the fictitious Nazarene, which is the stone that's born in your mind from the work. These are the three stones of the three works and the 3 degrees of the perfection which work within the 5. Okay, this is not. We're not going to allow this shit to twist us up. We know who we are. We know where we really come from. And the Typhonian religion and the religion of the mother shall and will be restored. And on that motherfucking note, I hope y'all have a good night. And I hope you learned a lot of shit. This is Spiritual Corruption Part 2. And I will be doing Part 3 on the Anunnaki and the 14 tablets and how them niggas is not really God either. And they ain't running shit. And they just came to Earth to get some pussy. Because I'm going to tell you the real story why this whole earth is corrupted to this day with pussy, rock and roll, and drugs and gold chains and shit. Them niggas been doing this shit since doing this shit. Have a good night.